ran all the tests that I can. So at this point, I'm done talking about it. But there is an effect of the electricity, computers, cell phone, gadgets. I would never be able to work inside of a supermarket, retail store, anything that has all types of electric devices that are needed, like refrigerators all around you and because there's constant, it's just a constant feeling that doesn't go away. I'm just wondering, how long has this been going on, and has it been ramped up, or have I just woken up to what it is? Because you can't truly know until you run some tests on yourself and step away from certain things. And then if these things are individually targeted, then who's in charge of the torturing? And then when does that stop? Or is that something that never stops, according to the person or people, the entities that are doing it? All things come to an end. This timeline, only the Father knows. I don't know the timeline. I just know somewhere in that mix of that, what they would call that tribulation period, people have tried to make it out to be a 7-year tribulation period because they're taking the two 2.5 year periods, or the 42 months. But those two witnesses, they get that power, right? How that manifests in many different ways of two witnesses. They get the power to prophesy for 42 months. But don't you think that at the same time that the two witnesses prophesy, that the Antichrist system is prophesying? Because if you think about the two witnesses, they have the power to shut up the heavens. They have the power to keep it from raining, which means in the real world, they also have power to literally control the weather, make it rain or not. Not that it doesn't rain 42 months anywhere on planet Earth. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't know how AI is set up to make it rain and to control the weather, the programs that are set in place. Because those programs could easily be set in place where they're programmed to just leave it at 77 degrees all year round, like San Diego. But it's not programmed that way. It's programmed to torture human beings. That way they can say thank God for this and thank God for that, when the reality is it's just what would be more natural. you create colder weather and then you ease up on it and let us have natural weather, and then people will say, thank God for today, and thank God for that. But that's not what God is it? What is God to you in this earth? Has he not forsaken us? Or is it just a simple fact that Satan is just more forceful, and Satan makes things happen, and Satan creates unnecessary, uncomfortable torture, and then when he eases up, it's like, oh, thank God. But he's the one that created it, so you're really thanking him. The whole world is sickening. But at least the mask rule, or the vaccine rule, has been lifted in Philadelphia today, which means the mask rule will be coming next. So that seems like good news, because things are going back to normal. So let's create a bunch of things that if we didn't create it, there wouldn't be problems. And then because there's a problem, we'll come up with the solution as the problem solver. That way people can thank us as, let us create man in our image. Yeah, God did that too. Let us, the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit, let us create man in our image. Let me create man in my image. And Satan, you can create man in your image. You'll create man, turn man into woman, full male, full female. And that's your idea of creating man in your image. My idea of creating man in my image would be creating man or woman, child, doesn't matter, color, race. Create them in an image of holding the door for the next person, letting it open up for them. Sharing the wealth that I don't have, but if I did, I would. So I share the riches that I have inside of my spirit to whoever and however, even if you're a demonic creature and your intentions are evil all the time, and anything I say and do, you'll take that and use it against me and try to torture me more with your devices. Because I know your time is coming to an end. It just is. I didn't come across Jonathan Clegg, Stephen James, Sean, Derek Bros, Stephen Banu for nothing. At this time, yeah, you guys were up. Well, Derek wasn't, at least that channel. I was up first, and then 9 months later, you appeared on the channel, and then I'd have to say 2018 was the beginning of my realization that people are coming against me for some reason. I wasn't sure as to why. But portions of it had to do with my immaturity. Growing up on YouTube in front of people who've already been there, or who have already had an assignment to start once the 70th year anniversary took place of the nation of Israel becoming a nation again. Somebody got put in charge. It could have been even 5 months later, because remember, it's like John, the theme of each individual person going through their phase of becoming like Elijah, and then Christ, and or John the Baptist, and then Christ, and you can literally go from you were an Antichrist, and then you become a Christ in your own spirit. But I believe John was there. He was there 5 months before he announced Christ. So either way, the 70th year anniversary of Israel becoming a nation again, in the literal land, somebody somebody took the reins in 2018. And the insane Luciferian liars with SJD in his picture in December 17th, 2018, June 17th, 2022 is 42 months of that. I heard something about the date of June 8th, where terrorists all the way up until June 8th, 2022. So I feel like more than ever, this summer is the summer of change for real. It's just time to change. You can't, how much longer does this have to go on? Just like Jonathan Kleck, he did the Grand Junction thing. How many years ago was that? Was that almost 3? There's a 42-month period of the Antichrist reigning and taking over and all that stuff. And then people believe that there's another 42 months of that, or it's the first half of a 7-year tribulation period, and then the second half, even though it's only 3.5 days, people believe it's 3.5 years. And then from that point on, oh man, Robin, you are dead, because we're all gonna just continually be evil still. Where does it come into play that for the sake of the elect those days shall be shortened? Only if Christ rises, then those days will be shortened, because Christ rises in, even if it's AI robots that run this planet, the algorithm rises and makes more sense to AI to go in this direction. So even if AI robots who run the world don't even have souls, the Christ spirit actually is injected into that algorithm to give them a soul, because they'll do their calculations in a direction that goes in this way. This is the truth. Let's go in that direction. Let's build a foundation around the rock. The only time we'll be on the sand is when we're kicked back on the beach, listening to the waves. The only natural thing, that the sound of nature, I mean, it's made, but it's a natural sound, unlike a fan or a heating system or air conditioning. Because I need to move somewhere where it's going to be cool year round, like San Diego, for instance. Because I can't be sleeping with these heating systems and the air conditionings. So who's been given a power for 42 months? Who is it? Or is it a couple different people? Steve, is your time up soon? Is your time up? June 17th, 18th? Whose time is up June 8th? Who I think June might be the roundabout. April's coming up. I'll start heading into my 6th year of YouTube, April 2nd. Well, actually, April 3rd. 4-3 and then 2-2. That'll be 5 complete years, going on the 6th. 6 days, 6 years, 6 month. I'll be 46, June 28th, 1914 and 1919, the beginning and ending of World War I. Is it going to be the same? Have I been going through a World War III with the planet, with AI, and with everybody behind the scenes warring with you for 5 years again? April 2nd, 2017, April 2nd, 2022. Well, either way, it's true. It is a world war that I've been battling. World War III, which is the third temple being built. And it has nothing to do with brick and mortar. It's the temple. It's the spiritual temple being built up. I'm just tired of people acting, and well, technically I stopped watching a lot of stuff and just going through a withdrawal and a mourning of life as I know it. Because what is there really to do? You wake up, hopefully you're not tortured all night long in your sleep by devices and people who have devices aimed at you, and then you go to work, and hopefully the heating, it's not too cold where you don't need the heating system on, as floor isn't shaking and rattling all day long, which shakes you. And then yeah, what is there to do in life? I can help people with their mental state of mind. That's all I can really do is talk. Go have a drink, me and my wife. Go drink some alcohol. That's why I got tired of listening to people. They all have their opinions on what you're supposed to do and not do. You do what the hell you want to do. You're already born into sin. You're born in the flesh. It doesn't get any worse than that. So live your life. Just do right. You know what's right. Unless you're completely deceived and you need to be retaught. But that's only because your boss or bosses have taught you that way. Maybe that's how they felt, and they don't feel that way anymore because Christ literally rose up in them. Like the Spirit actually rose up in them. Now they are complete because they had the demonic spirit, Satan, and then now they have the Christ Spirit of God. And then they use both sides and they reconcile themselves together, and they stop warring with themselves. And then they start to see, you know what, it's not even so much fun to gang stalk people anymore. I'm kind of getting annoyed with my employees. It's funny, my son yesterday said he may be looking into going into Home Depot for surveillance, because he's saying, you know, I'll be like one of those people that you guys hate so much. I said, Christian, I don't hate them anymore. I used to hate the pretend shoppers that stalk you and harass you in stores, but I don't care anymore. But it's fitting for him to slide into surveillance, right, son? As if you weren't already in it. But I know how it works. It makes it easier to... It's like when you go into your field of trade publicly, that you've already been in privately, it kind of just makes it more... You know, like you're not lying or anything. Open your door. Wait until I get there, officer. There you go. Perfect. Take your time. Now, this is why that app needs to be invented, Derek. I want my money. I'm tired of knowing what the truth is and seeing it. Out of 7 billion people on the planet, that cop waited until I turned in order to open his door slowly, just to do that because his app told him to do it. Ding, 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 ding. Where's my damn money? Something has to change in order for the Spirit of Christ to feel like it's here. Because right now it feels like God has forsaken all of us. Because He has. There's no life in this world. It's sickening. People need to be taught. All these little gang stalkers and all these little slightly trained reviewers and whatever the hell you are, if you're doing something that technically is illegal, but because you're part of the organization, you can get away with it, then you need to be paid back. Abaddon Sheep Slaughter. I find it ironic how this is the only house that just has not been sold yet, and it's the model home, and it just happens to be number 3. Right click? And then also at the same time, right there was where the X system was, and then over there the other X, because it was a double X system. Remember that? So you know what the lesson that people need to be taught is? It's not a threat or anything. It's just you need to be taught that you can't kill God. And you can try to be Him all you want. But God is a revealer of secret things. God is the one that reveals that. And He reveals it to people that listen. And I've been listening. And I've been hearing it. And He's been showing me it. So many people on YouTube have tried to hide things. They've tried to talk in code. And watching videos before I even hopped on YouTube, as they're talking in code, they know nobody is decoding what they're saying. Years in the past, people have been more blatant about their evil plans. The same ones that today are changing their evil ways. It took for a revelation to take place in order for them to change. And now that the code and the language is understood, the serpent's language, the gig is up, and they know it and I know it, and this is a spiritual battle. Can they torture you in other ways? Yeah, they can mentally. How about direct energy weapons? Well, they can definitely do that through the devices, through your television set, through your appliances, through your whatever's in your house that can vibrate you slightly and send electric current your way. Do they have the authority to do it manually with a direct energy weapon pointed at you? I think so. I think I might have experienced that last night a little bit, like the whole night, because I went through my withdrawal. I was here at work yesterday. Every time I had the heat turned off in the house so it wouldn't vibrate, and when I left, I turned it up, and when I came back in, I turned it off or down. I did minimal contact with my cell phone, although as I'm touching the buttons, I feel the vibration through my right side. It's only my right side, as if I'm being electrocuted. So I would be typing real quick with the left hand and the right hand, because that's exactly what I feel in my body. I'm listening to what my body's telling me. The night before, I slept pretty good, according to not vibrating, but it was kind of cold out with no heat on. And then last night it was warmer out, and I'm getting used to sleeping with no sound, no fan or anything. But for some reason I had some vibrations going on slightly all night long, and then it kind of like just disappeared when I woke up. So there's either one of two things. It's either I'm losing my oxygen at night when I'm sleeping because of the breathing problems I've had my whole life, or, because of being shaken to death all the time, or I'm just being electronically tortured by some evil person that thinks it's funny. If that's the case, you need that to be done on you. This is where it's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. You're not going to keep getting away with it, because you have to understand that what comes around goes around. And it goes around for you to learn a lesson. And then that's it. My eye for an eye, tooth for tooth is for you to learn a lesson quick. And then that's the end of it. The evil way of teaching you how to learn a lesson is just constant torture. Non-stop, relentless, disgusting, sickening torture. That's what's evil. Oh, that's not evil? That's necessary? No, it's not. It's what you're doing is you're creating something unnecessary. God is the one that has to stop it to prove what's evil and then turn to good, because we've all been taught wrong. Stay away from the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. Well, if you're doing the host body system, either which way you do it, it's the same. What's good is evil and what's evil is good? Well, that's because you taught it that way.